What's up, awesome life seekers? Jeff Lerner here, and in this video we are talking about landing pages, specifically how to create a landing page that works and does what you want it to do. If you're new to digital marketing or new to online business, you may not really be familiar with a landing page. Landing page is, wait for it, a page where people land when they click your ad and it takes them to your landing page. Yes, exactly. But your landing page, it's almost like a throwaway. If you're not really savvy about online marketing, you may think, well, it's okay, so I'll run an ad and I'll take them to a page and the page will tell them what I do, and then they'll click the button and then they'll go buy my stuff, right? Well, it's a lot more involved in that, and your landing page literally can make or break your entire business. I've seen amazing offers, amazing products or services with great pricing, highly qualified people delivering the service or selling the product, but the landing page is messed up and it breaks the flow from the ad to the page to ultimately the checkout. And when you break that flow, you got to understand on the internet how fickle people really are. Like, you give them one tiny reason to lose focus and they will take it and they will be off in another direction buying somebody else's thing, or reading BuzzFeed's top 7 pickup lines for 2021, or whatever distraction they can stumble into. So your landing page, you've got to get it right. I'm actually going to go online and look at landing pages and dissect them, explain how they work, what works really well. I'll show you some of my landing pages that have worked extremely well and what we've tested and what we've gotten just right to make them work so well. And so I just want to sort of set up the conversation by saying the goal of a landing page is to get people to do one thing. So as we go into this, we're going to be looking and we need to be asking ourselves constantly, like, what is this page getting the person to do? Everything needs to be linear. Everything needs to be focused in one single direction. A lot of times the sort of the amateur landing page is going to feel like a traditional website where there's like different options and different information and different resources, and maybe you feel great about it. It's like a brochure and it tells people all about you or your service or your product, and it sucks. It's not an effective landing page, because the point of a landing page isn't to educate and share everything there is to say. It's to get people from where they're coming from to where you want them to go, with no distractions, no interruptions, no interference, nothing but a very specific, focused direction for them to take, okay? That said, let's get into the science and the art of making awesome, effective, high-converting landing pages that literally, you get this right, you can change your entire life. All right, so let's talk about landing pages. I just pulled up, well, this is actually a page that I already had open, and then I opened up some more pages along with a couple of my own landing pages so we can kind of dig into this. The first thing that you need to know about a landing page has to do with the headline. This is probably the most obvious thing. Because as a user, you're probably used to this being the thing that you look at. Let's take a look at some of these headlines and see how strong they are. This says, the easiest way to create professional live streams. Okay. I like it-ish. I like it okay. Here's, I guess, before we dig into headlines, the thing you have to realize, first of all, about headlines is they don't exist in a vacuum. They're not just this like arbitrary, abstract thing. They connect. They're part of a through line of messaging that actually starts with the ad, carries through to the headline, and ultimately will carry through to the sales page. So it's hard to evaluate a headline strictly in isolation, because so much of it has to do with the ad that came before it, or whatever the link that brought people to the landing page was. But in general, this seems a little soft to me. The easiest way to create professional live streams, only because I don't think it doesn't have much intrigue or mystery. It doesn't really speak to the value I mean, if I'm already pre-sold that I want to create professional live streams, then that's great. This is the easiest way to create professional live streams. But I think there's a way you can say the same thing with a lot more of an emphasis on the benefit or the pain. Remember, when it comes to copywriting, it's all about moving toward pleasure or away from pain. And usually away from pain is the stronger of the two. So the easiest way to create professional live streams, you could basically say the same thing, but have a little more impact if you said something like, create professional live streams without breaking the budget or technical headaches or something. Something that speaks again to the pain of, you have to assume if somebody's trying to create a professional live stream, they've probably already done some sort of digital broadcast marketing, which means they've experienced the pain of either spending a lot of money on tools or having tech challenges, how to create a professional live stream that makes you look like the big boys or something. Or there's other sort of types of words like who wants to look like a pro, or, you can ask questions. How to is powerful. How to create a professional live stream without tech challenges or breaking the budget. Again, I think this is just sort of plain. This I just happen to have open because I'm literally looking at StreamYard as a platform. And so for me, I'm pre-sold. I already do lives all the time. I do live streams. I've already heard that StreamYard has a number of features and advantages. So for me, the headline, I was probably going to sign up regardless, but I don't think this is that strong for people that weren't pre-sold. Anyway, the other thing I did was I went to Facebook and I literally just scrolled my feed and clicked on some sponsored ads and things that they pulled up. So like I pulled up this one. This is for Amy Porterfield's course. I pulled up some others. Anyway, I pulled up this TikTok ad. So let's first of all look at this. Sneak a peek of Digital Course Academy. First of all, I think that's actually bad grammar. You don't peek of, you peek at, but we'll let that go. Limited time access. I like it in general, a little bit of scarcity, create a little bit of urgency, but it would have been better if she had put this until September 2nd at 11:59 p.m. If she had put that up here, limited time access expires, maybe a countdown timer expires in 3 days, expires September 2nd. I would have liked to have seen that up here. This is actually what's called a pre-headline. This is the actual headline. This is the pre-headline, which is usually some kind of qualifier. I actually don't know this. I prefer a pre-headline to be kind of a call, like attention course creators, or want to create your first digital course? ? Then sneak a peek at Digital Course Academy. I think that would be a better use of the pre-headline. The pre-headline should kind of set up what the headline delivers on. I don't know that limited time access. I mean, I get it. Limited time, creating urgency and scarcity is always good, but it seems a little, just a little kind of odd. I do like this one because it's short. Sneak a peek at Digital Course Academy. I'm saying at. I refuse to say of. But that's 7 words. That's a good, 7-8 word headline is strong. You could go 10 words. This is a nice short one. I do like that. We'll keep talking through these. This is by some guys, Andy Frisella and Ed Milet. Don't really love this landing page at all. Arete means excellence. Excellence is what drives the elite. If you want to become, I get it. It's poetic. It suits their brand. It's kind of like, deep, but it's not a great headline. It just doesn't grab you with the immediate benefit. But again, with this, you're probably already a fan of these guys. You're probably already pre-sold. They did a big pre-launch warm-up. So I'm not saying that this page won't convert, but I don't think this page is going to convert because of the amazing headline. This is TikTok Back to Business Program. Terrible headline already. It's not even a headline. It's just a label. And then this actually, I'll show you. So this is 2 of my pages. How I went from $400,000 in debt to making over $40 million online, and how you can copy the step-by-step process starting today. So this has pre-headline, headline, and sub-headline. This was pretty good. This page converted at about 30%. One of the things that we did on this page by, there's all these little tricks and things you can do, but by basically saying, how did you hear about us? Facebook, Bing, YouTube, and other. We ran this page on Facebook, Bing, and YouTube, and we found that when we added that, just creating, remember I talked about congruence, I talked about a thread that continues through from the ad. Just adding this increased the conversions on this page. I want to say it was from like 20% to 30%, because it just gave that sense of continuity. Like, oh, I was on Bing, and now they're asking, now they're referring to the fact that this page links to a Bing ad. So there's just some sort of like warm, cozy factor with, internet user behavior that likes things that connect. And so that was a nice touch. This page was actually our control for a while. You notice hurry expires August 31st, 2020. It is August 31st, 2020 at the time I'm shooting this. So that's on a script that always, and so technically this offer would expire at the end of every day, and then we would renew it for the next day. But then this page, we actually smashed this other page. This page converts closer to 60%. Free download reveals the fastest way to become a millionaire. Now, so let me just compare this. So this is one of the best converting landing pages I've ever built. Again, 60% of people not just putting in their email, but actually downloading the book. 60% of people who land here download this book. There's a few reasons that I'll talk about. But one thing I want to just sort of direct your attention to is look how simple it is. Tons of white space. One of the reasons that's so important is because on a mobile device, it's really well optimized for mobile. So essentially on a mobile device, that's what people are going to see. You notice a few things we did. For one, the button, when you shrink down to mobile, the button pops up here. A lot of people would sort of naturally just keep the button below the text, but on a mobile device, that would mean that you had to scroll to get to the button, right? So we actually added this other button up here. On a mobile device, you've got this clear image of a deliverable. That's another thing we'll talk about. Let's compare this page to these other pages. First of all, look, this actually has a nice open white space feel. Let's see how it shrinks down on mobile. See, putting an image at the top on mobile, I don't think is great practice because, well, for obvious reasons. People are then going to have to scroll to even get to the call to action or get to the opt-in. But this page does have a nice amount of white space. I like that about it. It's got testimonials, that's good, but otherwise I would say it probably has too much information to be really high converting. That's the most counterintuitive thing about landing pages. It's just less is more, less is more. I've never seen landing pages that couldn't get better by getting less. This is, again, so much of it has to do with what happened before the ad, but in general, like any of this guru type branding, whether it's Amy Porterfield, whether it's Andy and Ed, whether it's my stuff, I don't even have my brand on this page, but they're pre-sold because there's a good ad that leads to this, and they just come here. They want one specific thing. You come here. Well, here let's just go through these again. You come here. Okay, so what is this page? Sneak a peek. Say no more. I'm in. Okay, well, say no more. I'm in. But then she keeps talking. She does say more. In this module, you'll learn so much to read. Digital course industries like education. Wasn't all this in the ad? A personal note. I don't know. I don't know Amy personally, but I'd love to talk to her and probably help her boost. I bet we could double the conversions on this page. I don't love the color scheme. I know that she appeals to kind of a female audience, but this color scheme, in my experience, the sort of peachy pastels, I don't see that being really strong. This obviously is a more masculine brand, kind of a wake up warrior type brand. Again, I think it's probably got too much information. Look at all this. I would much rather just click to watch a video that explains all this. I think in general, people write so much now. And writing's good in the right context, but in general, especially on mobile, you're just going to get so much more done with just boom, quick, call to action, pop to a video. And then TikTok, I don't even know what to say about this. Look, TikTok's a $1 billion business because it's an explosive growth social platform. But in terms of launching their ad platform, this is, I don't know, this is pretty weak from my point of view. Yeah, this doesn't bother me too. It's a little micro call to action. But again, all this content. And they're probably looking at, TikTok advertising is new. We got to sell the benefits and stuff. But this is... And admittedly, TikTok has a little bit of a monopoly. They're in a unique position because they're actually the only game in town when it comes to a hyper-growth social platform that still has very low-cost advertising options. Obviously, if you go to Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, you're going to spend a lot more. TikTok has a little bit of a learning or an education challenge where they have to educate people as to why TikTok advertising is valuable, because I think there's kind of a prejudice that it just assumes it's a bunch of kids. So I get why they felt like they needed to put a lot of this content on here. But look, the strongest part of this offer is that you can claim a one-time ad credit of $300. That should be the headline. Claim your $300 in free TikTok ads. Boom, get credit. Anyway, that just seems sensible to me. I have a video tutorial that, in general, all of this anchors to copywriting, understanding copywriting. And it's just so simple. You can understand everything you need to know about copywriting, or not everything, but your foundation of all good copywriting comes down to just two simple points of awareness. One, there are only three things that people are trying to improve in their life: their money, their relationships, or their health and the way they feel. That's it. Money, relationships, health. So everything you do needs to be anchored to money, health, or relationships. So like this, the easiest way to create professional live streams, that doesn't immediately tie to money, health, or relationships. It should say, get noticed like the big guys on a fraction of the budget. Tie to money, how to save money, doing this thing that you need to do for your business. Sneak a peek at Digital Course Academy. It should say something like, build your tribe, become the authority with a lucrative hands-free business model, or something that's like, listen, you're going to have time, you're going to make money, you're going to grow your connection, and that kind of alludes to the relationship piece. That's one of the things that's so valuable about the digital course business, is it doesn't just make you money, it also builds you powerful authority and influence in the market, which speaks to the relationships. Arete Syndicate, this is just vague. Excellence, and I use the word excellence a lot, but I specifically break excellence down into physical, personal, and professional excellence, the 3 Ps of an awesome life. Because again, physical, health; personal, relationships; professional, money. I'm anchoring excellence to those 3 specific objectives that people have. This, excellence drives the elite. If you want to become one of the elite, become one of us. Again, if I know all about these guys and I go, they're rich and they're jacked, then okay, cool. Maybe I want to be like them because of health and money, but they're not actually tying into that with this copy. This, again, what did I say? They should have just dangled the free ad credit. How to make more money, get started with $300 in free ads or something, right? It's pretty obvious. The fastest way to become a millionaire, I've got it free. So I'm saying it's free. You're not going to spend any money. You can become this is the fastest way to become a millionaire. Notice I reiterate, 0 cost, even the name, Millionaire Shortcut. And it's the fastest, so I'm anchoring to speed and urgency. This has no speed or urgency. This does, but it's buried in the copy. This does not immediately. It does have a countdown timer, but this big picture, I don't think this is doing them any favors. It may make them feel good. And yeah, it's a video, but it doesn't say click to play the video. I almost noticed it wasn't even, or I almost didn't even notice it was a video, especially because you've got this play button right in the middle of the A that makes it just look like the bar completing the A. Let's see, this has urgency, but it's October, November, December. It's 3 months out urgency. It's not going to push anyone too hard. Anyway, you get the idea. Yeah, like I said about copy, 2 core concepts. 1, health, money, relationships. The other concept is that idea of pursuit of pleasure, avoidance of pain. If your copy always connects people directly to say, here is how you can reduce the pain in your life associated with money, associated with health, associated with the relationships, or here's how you can increase the pleasure in your life with those same 3 channels, that's it. That's good copy. If it's not concretely and very obviously and very obviously very quickly, so you don't have to sit and think about it, if it's not concretely and obviously and immediately connected to increasing pleasure or decreasing pain, physically, personally, or professionally, it's probably not great copy, or it's copy that can be improved. Anyway, I've got a video where I talk about how to write great copy, how to develop the best copywriting skills. We'll link to that below in the description. The next thing that I want to show is I personally like giving a good lead magnet or tripwire, something that is a visually represented deliverable that they can get their hands on very quickly. I like this. I don't see what the immediate deliverable is. I mean, even if they're not even saying like, get started, get your free trial for 7 days, or go through our easy to navigate tutorial and be up and running in 15 minutes. There needs to be something that's like an easy, grabbable offer that somebody can just feel like, okay, I'm going to opt in and boom, I'm going to get it really fast, right? This one actually is pretty good. Your free sneak peek of, the first module. I like that. I think they could feature it more prominently. They could have some kind of a visual, maybe of a back office with the first module open and some kind of little, smiling person consuming it. Arite, syndicate, enrollment closes soon. Enrollment, this is not obvious to me immediately what I'm going to get. Am I signing up to, so do I put in my email and or my info and now suddenly I'm a member? I don't know. I don't actually know what I'm getting here. Am I enrolling just by filling out a form? Is there an interview process? I feel like that could be more clear. This one's good. Again, if they featured it more prominently, it would say get your credit. I mean, the button call to action, I think it can be more specific. You say get ad credit, get $300 ad credit. I think just saying get credit is a little vague, but it is a nice deliverable, but they're not really concretely representing it visually. This was decent, but obviously one of the big reasons that our conversions doubled from 30% to 60% is because of this right here, this very visual, clean deliverable, which they just download the book. I mean, that's literally just a mock-up, but that's a huge piece, is an attention-grabbing, high-quality, rich image representing the immediate deliverable that they're going to get when they opt in or they do whatever the call to action is on the page. The next thing that I would say is you want to be really, really clear on exactly what problem you're solving. So this one, I think it's implied. The problem is clunky, difficult, expensive, cumbersome ways to do live streams, and that this is solving the problem, is giving you an easy way. I think they could have been more clear about it, but in general, I think it's pretty obvious what problem we're solving here. This one, I don't really see what problem we're solving. A simple question like, and this could be a nice pre-headline to say, frustrated launching your digital course, or have an idea, got an idea for a course but don't know where to start. There's a number of ways you could sort of speak to the frustration or the problem that somebody might have. I mean, if somebody's looking at Digital Course Academy, they've probably already thought of themselves potentially creating a course. But I don't think that she's actually referencing whatever pain or challenge that person might have felt. This one actually, I think, does speak to the pain. I think that a lot of, particularly for a male offer, a masculine offer like this, I think there's a lot of men that feel kind of frustrated and emasculated and out of control in their life. And this does a reasonable job, partly just because these guys are like, chiseled alpha looking dudes. It kind of speaks to power and control in your life. I think this one actually does a decent job on that front. This could, I think, do way better saying tired of paying for overpriced ads on platforms that don't convert. Some kind of question. I mean, look, if you're speaking to a business about trying TikTok ads, the most obvious thing to do is compare it to other experience of running ads on online social platforms and probably burning up a ton of cash without results, which most business owners that have tried online advertising at least have some experience that they can relate to with that. How you can copy the step-by-step process starting today. Again, this page, I think, did that reasonably well. This version, basically, I mean, this is the shortcut to becoming a millionaire through some sort of digital marketing. Obviously alludes to, essentially we're speaking to people who have either considered or tried doing some kind of an online business, or simply referencing, their current situation where maybe they're just not happy with their time or their income. I think this offer probably does a decent job of explaining what problem it's going to solve. I mean, people wanting more money is a pretty obvious and common problem, so it probably doesn't need to be as explicit as some of these other offers. The next thing you can do to really, really bump your landing page, if you don't have it, preconditioned from the ad, is testimonials. These guys do a great job of that. This is one thing they do well. Again, let's see what it looks like on mobile. Admittedly on mobile, it's going to take a while to get there. But I mean, obviously they're leading right with a Gary V testimonial. That's strong. If you have celebrity or any kind of credibility like that, you can leverage. That's good. This has no testimonials, which is fine. Like our page has no anything, right? It's super clean, super simple. But if you're going to have all this content, I sure would have liked to see some social proof. Social proof is another word for testimonials. Arite. Yeah. Nothing. TikTok ads. Again, all this content. If you're going to give me content, give me proof. Give me results. If you're going to hold back, if you're going to go with the Spartan approach, that's fine. That leaves the intrigue. That leaves me wanting more. But if you're giving me all this content, at least pull in a case study or a testimonial or something. And then finally, the final piece is the actual call to action. You want your call to action, your directive on the page. And in general, that's what I would say about these pages. They need to be extremely linear, extremely specific, extremely directive to do one specific thing. That's one of the reasons that I don't love all this content. It's like, well, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to give you my email address and click get started? Or do you want me to spend 20 minutes scrolling down and reading your page? I think it's confusing. Anytime you give somebody two things to do, you create a third possibility, which is that they're unsure and they do neither. Ditto here. All this reading. Look, if I want to learn about digital courses and the benefits, this is all stuff for a sales page. In this module, you'll learn. This is all stuff that should be on a sales page. This could be in a sales video. And say no more, I'm in. That's not That's not command language. I get it, but I don't think that's very strong. And listen, like, I'm not here to knock Amy. She's super awesome marketer, and I don't know if she designed this page or not, but I'm a good marketer too. It doesn't mean that I don't have people who I respect telling me often, hey, here's something you could try. Here's a way you might be able to improve. One of the reasons good marketers are good marketers is because they value feedback from other good marketers, and they're constantly getting better. Join the Arete Syndicate. I don't mind that because it's a command. Hey, join the syndicate. Do this, right? And then it says hurry. So I like that. It's commanding. People like being told what to do on the internet. They don't want to have to figure it out for themselves. This one, what's the CTA here? Create. So they actually, this is just awful. I mean, seriously, I don't know who TikTok hired to do this, but look, one of their buttons says get credit. And then the top two buttons say get credit. And then this button says next, like, oh, fill out a form. And then this button says create an ad. So they're literally giving me 3 different CTAs. Oh, this one says start now. 4 different CTAs spread across how many different buttons, one of which has a survey to complete. You're putting FAQs on your landing page. This is just, I don't know, this is just a debacle from where I'm sitting. How about this? Download your free book. It's a free book. It's a free download. There's a picture of the book. And then the button says, download your free book. And the line above the button says, click the button. Keep it simple. Keep it extremely linear and focused and intentional. Less is more. Less is more. This page, I cannot say enough. Look, we put this big space below. This is required disclaimer language from Facebook and Google. And yet still we put this big space because what we're actually hoping is that people, they'll be on a smaller screen. I'm on a pretty big monitor here, but this is what we actually want people to see. There's just nothing else to do. Now, granted, we have to put this to make the ad platforms happy, and you have to put all these footer links to make the ad platforms happy. But in general, we just want super simple copy, one thing to do. In fact, and then look at the mobile. You got to remember 55, 60% of all your users likely are on mobile. I mean, it doesn't really get much simpler than that. Look at that. That's your iPhone screen right there. Stupid simple, painfully simple, simple to the point where if you don't have the experience with this, you'll get this itch, like I need to do more. I have to do more. Surely it couldn't possibly work to keep it this simple. It does. Anyway, so to sum all that up, when it comes to landing pages, and hopefully it's been instructive to actually look at these pages, but when it comes to landing pages, you basically want to focus on a killer headline, relatively short, asking a question or making a big, bold promise, 7, 8, maybe 10 words. Free download reveals the fastest way to become a millionaire. That's 10 words. It's honestly about as long as you want to get, unless you have, there sometimes are really powerful compound headlines, but they're going to be multiple short statements that are connected in a really powerful sequential way. So it's like, and a lot of times you would break that up with like a pre-headline to a headline, but like using this one, for example, frustrated course creator, ? Sneak a peek at the easiest way to quickly launch your course. That kind of a thing. So that's a little longer, but it can work. But in general, the idea should be extremely simple. And then again, the visual lead magnet, something that's super obvious and easy to visually represent that says this is what you're going to get. And then all the language should be geared around very simply articulating how you solve one specific problem. I much prefer, I should have said this earlier, I much prefer bullets over text. So, I mean, all this text, like, I'd rather them just have a list of bullet points if they do want to get into feature. Like, this is good. This is good right here. It's too many. But in general, I much prefer that format over this format. Testimonials, if you're going to heap a bunch of extra stuff on the page. Make it social proof. There's really just nothing else you could put on there other than like other people that it's worked for. And then having an extremely specific, concise call to action that is, directive and only gives them one thing to do that clearly links to whatever the visual representation of the deliverable was. So, assuming that, let's use the TikTok page, assuming that we use the $300 ad credit as the headline, as the main deliverable, there should be an image over here that shows, $300 coupon or something. Then every call to action on the page should refer to the main deliverable. It should say, get your free ad credit, or get $300, or save $300 now. Every CTA, every button text on the page should refer to that specific deliverable. All right. So again, killer headline, a clear visual representation of the deliverable, solving one problem, listing the benefits related to solving that one simple problem, using testimonials and social proof if you're going to heap other stuff on the page, and then having a crystal clear, simple call to action that links directly with the offer. All right. Those are my tips on creating amazing landing pages. And let me say this about all this. This isn't just some strategy for doing a business process slightly better. This is like the alchemy of turning water into wine, or turning lead into gold. Like when you get really, really good at this stuff, you can literally create wealth on demand. You can take anything that isn't terrible, any offer that isn't terrible, any product or service that isn't terrible, and because you know how to sell it, you can make money for yourself, or you can get paid to make money for someone else. These are breakthrough skills. I shoot these videos, all these different variations of these videos about how to do digital marketing, how to understand direct response marketing, how to convert, how to optimize, how to do this stuff that some people kind of glaze over and disregard as like, oh, it's technical, or oh, it's complicated, or oh, it's sophisticated. No, it's like magical powers. Magic is awesome. Magic that makes money is extra awesome. So I really encourage you, whether it's from me or someone else, commit to learning this stuff. I see all these people toiling about in the world, learning all these other skills, and I just don't understand. If you have a passion or deep desire to do something else with your life, that's great. Do this, make a lot of money, and then have the time and the capital to go do whatever else you want. For me, I'm interested in music. I'm interested in real estate. I'm interested in helping people. I'm interested in all kinds of stuff. But focusing on these skills empowers and enables all the other awesome things I want to do with my life. It doesn't work the other way around. Focusing on the things you love doesn't pay you to do the things that you love. Focusing on this stuff, whether you love it or not, it doesn't just pay you, it also sets you free, because the internet handles your business. You don't need a staff, you don't need employees, you don't need to be tied to your desk. The internet's got it. You just have to understand the concepts and be able to put them in place, and then you're free. You're free to live any life you want. So that's my thoughts on landing page optimization. If you'd like to become a part of a community where this is like what we eat, sleep, and breathe, this is the fabric of our daily being, check us out on Facebook. Go to Entre Nation, ENTRE Nation. It's a free Facebook group. Definitely, if you've enjoyed this video or you want to learn more about this stuff, give me a like. Appreciate the support. It helps me bring more content like this to the market. And subscribe to the channel if you want to become a student of these types of skills or just support the mission here. And check the links below this video. We've got a lot of helpful resources for you. And ultimately, if you'd like to get that book and discover the fastest way to become a millionaire in your own life, you now know how simple it is to get the book. So thanks for your time. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care.